Sarah was an average girl, a jack of all trades, master of none. Pretty, but not enough to turn heads. Smart, but not enough to answer without thinking twice. She was the kind of girl people noticed slowly. This is her story. Sarah was in a relationship with Peter for 5 years. They loved each other deeply. They grew together, supported each other, and believed they would end up together. To everyone around them, they looked complete. But one day, everything ended suddenly. Peter accused Sarah of cheating on him with his best friend. What Sarah didn't know at that time was the truth. Peter's best friend, Jacob, had framed her. He was jealous. He liked Sarah and couldn't accept that she chose Peter over him. Peter knew that Jacob had feelings for Sarah. Still, he chose to believe his friend, and he broke up with her. Sarah didn't create a scene. She didn't beg him to listen. She didn't try to prove herself. To everyone else, she seemed strong. She handled the breakup well. But inside, it broke something. She kept asking herself what she did wrong, why she was never enough. A year passed. Sarah moved on, or at least tried to. She got a good job. She focused on her career. She started chasing her dreams. For the first time, life felt stable. For the first time, she felt like she was doing enough. And just when she thought the past was behind her, it walked back into her life. Not as a memory, not as a lesson, but as her new boss, Peter. She thought the past was over, until her ex became her boss. After the introduction of the new boss, Peter asked Sarah to report to his cabin. As she walked in, he looked at her, eyes heavy, voice low, and said, "I'm sorry."
Sarah stood outside Peter's cabin, her hand resting on the door handle. For a brief moment, she wondered why her heart still remembered him, even after everything. When she stepped inside, Peter didn't look like her boss. He looked tired, older somehow, like someone who had been carrying regret for far too long. "I'm sorry," he said again. Not like a formality, not like a manager speaking to an employee, but like a man apologizing for the biggest mistake of his life. He told her everything then, how he had finally learned the truth, how Jacob had lied, and how the guilt had followed him every single day since. Sarah listened, quietly, without interrupting him even once. When he was done, the room fell silent. After a moment, Peter asked the question he had been holding on to for over a year. "Why didn't you explain yourself back then? Why didn't you fight for us?" Sarah looked at him calmly. There was no anger in her eyes, no hurt she wanted to show, and in a soft voice, she said, "You never asked." The words weren't sharp. They weren't cold. They were simply honest. Something broke inside Peter at that moment, because he finally understood. She hadn't stayed silent because she was guilty. She stayed silent because she was tired of proving herself to someone who didn't trust her. Sarah adjusted the file in her hands, gave him a polite nod, and turned to leave. At the door, she stopped for just a second. "I hope you're okay, Peter," she said gently. And as she walked away, Peter realized something that hurt more than the breakup ever did. He didn't lose her the day he walked away. He lost her the moment he stopped listening. After that day, nothing really changed. Sarah didn't come back to explain herself. She didn't look back either, and Peter didn't ask her to. But somehow, he stayed, just not where she could see him. From a distance, he started looking out for her. On late nights, he made sure she reached home safely. If it rained, he quietly asked someone to walk her to her car. When work became overwhelming, he adjusted deadlines without ever telling her why. Sarah never noticed any of it. And maybe that was the point, because real care doesn't always need to be seen. Over time, a few small accidents happened. Missed steps, slippery floors, long, tiring days that left her exhausted. And every time, Peter was there before anyone else. Not dramatic, not loud, just calm hands and quiet concern. He never crossed any lines. He never asked for anything in return. He just made sure she was safe. Then one day, it wasn't small. It was a minor accident. Nothing serious, nothing dramatic. But it was enough. Sarah lost consciousness. In that moment, the world around Peter blurred. Hospitals don't make noise, they echo. He stood beside her bed holding her hand, his fingers trembling, and for the first time in a very long time he cried, not as her boss, not as her ex, but as someone who had loved her enough to let her go, and somehow never stopped caring. He bowed his head and whispered a prayer. "Please, I don't need anything back. Just let her be okay. Just let her be safe." Sarah heard every word. When she slowly opened her eyes, she didn't say anything at first. She simply lifted her hand and gently brushed Peter's hair. Peter froze. She smiled at him, not a smile of pain, but a smile of peace. And in that quiet moment, they both understood something important. Some endings don't break you, they heal you. What's meant for us will never leave. And what's not will always disappoint us. That's why choosing yourself, taking care of your heart, is the first kind of love that truly matters.